So, hello everyone. Uh, Today's topic of my presentation is the impossible woman, a feminine allegory, and female in Indian nationalism. So, these are my academic information. So, the basic research question for my presentation is how does connecting nation and woman through Mother India symbolism create double marginalization simultaneously, denying a woman political agency and denying the nation's sovereign autonomy? And what does this reveal about the relationship between feminine allegory and patriarchal nationalism and the possibilities for liberation? So the hypothesis becomes asserts that when nations are figured as mothers, two connected marginalizations occur. First is women are reduced from political agents to passive symbols, losing voice and autonomy. And the second is the nation is feminized as vulnerable and dependent, losing the capacity for sovereign self determination. These marginalizations are structurally interdependent women, and you cannot symbolize women without feminizing what they represent. This double marginalization mobilizes nationalism effectively in the short term by exploiting emotional connections to maternal sacrifice, but generates long term resistance from both feminists demanding women's agency and nationalists demanding genuine sovereignty, creating internal contradictions that undermines liberation movements. So, introduction. Abanindranath Tagore's Bharat Mata iconology, he has painted in 1905, created a powerful nationalist symbol, but Rabindranath Tagore's The Home and the World, written in translated in 1916 by Surendranath Tagore, reveals its cost. Maternal symbolism trapped both women and the nation in dependency, calling the homeland mother, feminizes the nation as vulnerable, and makes women passive symbols, creating double marginalization. While this imagery effectively mobilized anti colonial sentimental culturally, it failed politically as movements denying agency to both women and nation cannot achieve true liberation. Tagore and Sumati Ramaswamy in her The Goddess and the Nation show that this pattern persists in modern nationalist movements worldwide. So, how we can connect nation and woman? So, maternal body is equal to national territory. Suffering of women as a suffering of nation, and woman embodies national identity. So, these three mechanisms link nations and women. The land is mapped as a maternal body. Women's suffering becomes a national suffering, as Patnaik shows in her article. And Tagore's novel and women like Bimla in Tagore's novel are made to stand for the entire nation. Like we see that in political interpretation of Tagore's novel, Bimla is said as the nation, and that Bimla represents the nation, or we can say Bengal in its context. So this connection feels natural, but it is created through allegory, as we know. Now, understanding double marginalization. So, women as symbols, nation feminized, men is protected through this uh, allegory type of marginalization, and this double marginalization creates a marginalization loop, like uh, where female is present representing nation, then nation women is made as a symbol for nation, which makes a nation appear vulnerable. It denies nation and requires masculine rescue. So this type of loop we can see in this double marginalization of context. Then how Mother India marginalizes the nation. So from a sovereign actor to vulnerable victim, feminization of nation denies sovereignty of nation. We can see when the nation is depicted as mother, it becomes feminized, and it in patriarchal logic, feminine means weak, passive, requiring protection, and the nation shifts from being a powerful entity exercising determination to being a vulnerable body needing masculine rescue. So, Sumati Ramaswamy in her book shows Bharat Mata as compassionate mother demanding filial devotion and loyalty. But examine what this representation does. The nation is positioned as demanding, as compassionate, as requiring loyalty. Every descriptor feminizes and thus marginalizes sovereignty. So now we can see, we will see how the portrayal of Bharat Mata marginalizes a woman. So from a citizen to symbol, a character, a female character or a woman is portrayed as just a symbol of nation and symbolic centrality without real agency it becomes. So women appear central through images of Mother India, but this is symbolic rather than real power. The inspire men's action while their own agency is erased. So we can say that we can see this chart of how women's condition before allegory and after becoming allegory of Mother India. And we can see evidence from history, as Charugupta notes that maternal icons like Bharat Mata, Matrubhasha, Gau Mata, or we can say we call Mother Nature, demanded sacrifice, devotion, and protection from sons, while positioning women themselves as symbolic rather than a gentile. So then Bimla as nation, the double marginalization, example of double marginalization. So Bimla is in Tagore's novel is shown as a woman plus a patriotic symbol for we can see through if we see through the lens of Sandeep's patriotism. So, Ray and Ranawat establish Bimla's journey represents Bengal's own struggle between tradition and modernity, between the home and the world. As we can see, Bimla struggling between her home and her new modernization as she grows the idea of patriotism through the speech of Sandeep. So she is the nation in allegorical form, we can say. The novel as political intervention against both marginalizations. So here, Sardar's reading, Sardar has done the political interpretation of this novel. Uh, so Tagore critiques the excesses of nationalist fervor through the domestic sphere, showing how political ideologies invade and disrupt personal relationships. But it's more than domestic disruption, it's exposing how nationalism marginalizes its own subjects. Here we can, in the novel by Tagore, we can see the three stages of patriotism, that is extremist nationalism by Sandeep, moderate nationalism by Nikhil, and the female allegory of nation, Bimla, and how she is used by Sandeep to in name of patriotism and other things. So Bimla's trajectory demonstrates Tagore's argument that authentic selfhood cannot be achieved through nationalist symbolism, cultural success, and political failure. We can see that Mother India imagery was culturally effective as it uh, provokes the citizens uh, to get more enrolled in the activities, but it creates an political failure as it fails to help in political agencies. So Ramaswamy shows that Mother India imagery was culturally powerful. It turned abstract nationalism into intimate emotional devotion. However, as Charu Gupta explains, this success depended on reducing women to symbols rather than agents, demanding sacrifice and protection from men. Uh, Sanika Patnaik further in her article, she further notes that portraying the nation as a vulnerable mother requiring protection mobilized nationalist sentiment, but also positioned the nation as dependent rather than sovereign. Thus, the paradox is that while the imagery was effective in mobilization, it relied on double marginalization, denying both women's agency and the nation's sovereignty. In this way, the very strategy of success carried within it carried within it the seeds of political failure. So, this table shows us the comparative insight of Ramaswamy's book and the interpretation of Tagore's novel. And we can see in women's position, together these texts give us that symbolic centrality is marginalization, emotional power is also marginalization, and effectiveness and destruction are same process. What works for short term fails for long term, and need both to understand full contradiction uh, as we have to connect this two objects. So the synthesis: Ramaswamy documents a double marginalization as culturally successful, and Tagore critiques double marginalization as structurally unsustainable. So we can say that Tagore and Ramaswamy together reveal the paradox. The same imagery that united people also weakened the very goals of women's emancipation and national sovereignty. Cultural effectiveness and political impossibility were two sides of the same process. So the resistance pattern, double critique emerges. Double marginalization sparks two resistance. The first is feminist resistance, where women reject being symbols without agency, like Bimla rejects Sandeep's use of her. And the second is nationalist resistance. Nation rejects victimhood identity, push for sovereignty beyond suffering mother, and both must happen together. Women's liberation and national sovereignty are interconnected. So, Enlo, in her in her book, gives the idea that nationalism worldwide still centers women symbolically, but sidelines them politically. Contemporary resistance, or we can say contemporary relevance of this. So this pattern we seen that continues even today in the form that nationalist movements still use mother nation imagery. Women remain symbolic, not political, in some cases. Then global politics, we can see that developing nations feminized as weak, needing Western protection, and India today we can see in India, Mother India rhetoric persists even today, and women's political role lags behind symbolic presence. So Gupta on this makes the note that maternal icons demand sacrifice but deny agency. And Enlow notes that double marginalization remains modernized and not solved. The cost, what this cost to us. So women's agencies are lost. We can see nation sovereignty loss and liberation is undermined through this kind of paradox or this kind of uh, allegory of women as a nation. So the cost is, we can say, threefold. Women remain symbols without power. The nation is depicted as a victim rather than sovereign. And liberation movements fail to deliver true freedom because their very framework denies agency to those it claims to be free. So, what are the solution to escape this kind of double marginalization? We can say that to have the solution, we can de-link women and nation from victimhood to we can go from victimhood to sovereignty, and we can reject masculine rescue of narratives and participation over symbolization of women's. So, to move forward, we must separate women from nation as symbols, emphasizing on sovereignty, and reject the idea of men as rescuers, and ensure the participation of women instead of just symbolic representation. So, this slide is about what this study contributes to this is. So I can say that a double marginalization framework shows women and nation are marginalized together, not separately. The method of combining novels and cultural histories reveal a system that no signal text shows. The historical insight explains why anti-colonial nationalism mobilized devotion but denied agency, and contemporary tool we can see that helps analyze modern identity politics and check if symbolic roles limit agency or sovereignty. So the conclusion: the story of Mother India is ultimately a story about the cost of using people as symbols. When Tagore wrote his novel in 1916, he saw what he has not written in 1916, but in the translation in 1916, he saw what would take historians another century to fully document, that the most emotionally powerful political symbols often carry the highest human cost by making the nation into a mother and mothers into national symbols. Indian nationalism created a structure where neither woman nor the nation itself could exercise genuine freedom. Both remain trapped in positions of vulnerability and dependence, forever waiting for masculine heroes to rescue them. This wasn't an accidental flow, but a structural necessity of how the symbolism worked. Today, as nationalist movements worldwide continue reaching for maternal imagery to mobilize political emotion, they reproduce this same pattern of double marginalization. And we can see this double marginalization of concept and this feminist lens in so many things that we call mother nation, mother language, and other things. So learning outcome. So I learned that feminine allegories in nationalist discourse marginalizes both women and the nation simultaneously, and that symbolic visibility doesn't guarantee real power. Using multiple methods like novels and cultural history helps reveal these structural effects, showing how symbols can symbols can unintentionally undermine what they honor. And I also have seen that these patterns persist in modern nationalism, creating a paradox where movements can mobilize effectively yet fail to achieve true liberation. Real solutions require participatory democracy and genuine agency, not just symbolic representation of nation. And so these are my references, and this was for from my side. Thank you. Uh, if you have any question, you are free feel to ask.
So, Smruti, my question is: isn't the nation always gendered in some way? Uh, an example: Marian in France, Britannia in Britain. Why single out India?
Yes, many nations use allegory of female allegories, but in India, the maternal imagery was central to nationalism, and it creates a deeper contradictions between, we can say, the devotion to Mother India context and a denial of women's agency.
Smruti, my question is: isn't the Mother India symbol empowering rather than marginalizing?
So, Mother India symbol empowering rather than marginalizing. In As per my view, it looks empowering on the surface, but it traps women in passive symbolic roles, and the nation gains emotional power but loses its political agency in one or the other way. So this was from my side. Thank you.